Most people online, like this guy, are telling you to sell Agentic OS to businesses. And the demos look super nice and very futuristic. However, when I went there and I tried to sell this to businesses, I was hit to multiple bottlenecks that was not mentioned online. So in this video, I'm going to share with you some of the challenges that I faced and why I eventually found a better opportunity that is less costly and less risky and eventually got a yes from them. Now, let's start with the good news. Agentic OS is actually super fun. It looks very nice, and I have to say it looks super impressive. Very futuristic, and if you show this demo to somebody, maybe they will buy just purely on the visual appeal of it. However, as you see here, if you look there, it says local host. And unfortunately, that means you're installing this locally for, let's say, someone's business. And the problems start to occur once you want to use this and install it in a company that has maybe 5 employees or even 3 employees. Most of the demos online only show you how to install this locally with some Obsidian, that is local files, and they don't show you how would this scale into an actual company. So let's say there are 3-4 employees trying to access these Agentic OS systems that have different permissions, different workflows, and some of the edge cases that maybe are going to happen. And this is not shown anywhere online. And this is the first bottleneck that you're going to face. How can I give this to a company that has multiple people using this? How do we authenticate the users so they don't access data that they shouldn't? For example, like sales data maybe, or financial data. So there's much more thought that needs to go into these systems the moment you're trying to sell them to real businesses, especially in Europe. And one of the major issues that I found in these systems were the cost of them. Most of them, they have some sort of a dashboard like this one and different buttons. Unfortunately, the way that people are showing this in YouTube is that every time you click on a button, you are basically triggering a Claude Code skill. Like, let's say I want to ask Claude Code to go and fetch me some of my emails. You are every time running a skill to do this, and you are burning so many tokens that probably this whole dashboard is going to break towards the first 2 weeks of the month, and you need to buy even the more expensive license, etc. So that was a very big criteria that I was losing sales on because of that. This is also another example of these really flashy demos where you can still always see that it's on the local host. That means you are not really giving this to a team, because if you're giving it to a team, it's not going to be on localhost. It has to be deployed somewhere in the cloud. And this is where some of these issues start to happen. And the third reason that I notice companies are struggling with right now is that they don't fully trust Agentic AI to give them all the autonomy and power. Customers are still need to be spoon-fed their way into a full autonomous Agentic OS system like this. And it doesn't start by pushing everybody to full autonomous AI, but you start by maybe automating some things using some traditional automation workflows, and then improving these workflows to be AI enhanced, so adding some AI intelligence. And only when the customer feels confident to give more autonomy to the AI and we have very clear use cases, we can start to slowly go towards autonomous. Once the data is in place, once the workflows are well defined and the boundaries and guardrails are well defined. So that's why I found these videos are a little bit misleading. And yeah, sure, it looks real awesome. I mean, I don't know what has been built here. It looks like we're building the universe. Of course, yes, someone would want to build that, but like, what is the value that we're getting out of this, right? From a business perspective, how is this saving us time? How is this making us more money? So this brings me to the thing that actually is being sold to companies right now, which is some sort of an intelligence dashboard. Dashboards has been selling for ages now. It's not a new thing. Like data analytics is the most common field, which is AI data related, that is really helping businesses make decisions. And if you want to sell something like this to a small business, basically you need to give them analytics about their customer support. And here is a demo for a company that I'm installing this to. It's a coaching company. This is, of course, toy data. I'm not showing you the real customer data, but this is how usually it looks like. Fully tailored to their brand. Their brand is like these kind of colors. Basically, they need analytics in 2 or 3 departments. The first one is customer service. They want to see what are the open inquiries or open questions. And here you can add some AI to generate an auto reply that can be drafted and maybe changed a little bit. And then with one click, it gets sent to whatever platform that they're using. I noticed some of these businesses are using like Telegram to do their launches. Let's say they have a cohort-based business, a high ticket, maybe 7K, 8K program, and they put the people in a Telegram group and they start to get bombarded by these questions. From the questions, they can also get some insights into what are the stuff that the people are asking about. All of these are really helping the business come up with some decisions to move forward, not only in the customer support, but also in the sales. They can also see how much sales is happening, insights from the objections from the sales calls, how to win it, what are the people complaining about, etc. Also would get flagged about churn prediction, which customers are about to churn. And by churning, I mean they're about to leave the program, they're unhappy, etc. Maybe from some of the comments that they mentioned, maybe they haven't showed up to some sessions, etc. Now, why is this valuable? It is valuable because usually the customer support are working with many different tools and they don't have one place where they can just go, they can click through their tasks and they're done. The same thing for the business owner. There is no place where they can have full observation, full observability over everything that's happening in their business. And that's why these intelligence centers or these intelligence dashboards are very important. And right now you can build this very quickly with some AI tools. The way I do this, I go to Lovable, I build the initial draft because Lovable is good at building initial drafts. I take this to GitHub and I continue on my own with Cloud Code. And if you look here, if I click on the buttons, this is not triggering an agent. This is an actual button that is doing an API call. And why would I do something like that? Because we want to save on the cost. So anything that is a button, anything that is an automation, etc., this should be deterministic. This should be done via actual code. And we need to minimize the number of times that we're calling agents to save up the cost of doing this, running this dashboard. Because as I said, right now with this Agentic OS, you have Claude doing every single action with every button you click. There is Claude doing certain thing. And this would just make the cost skyrocket. So let's try to minimize this. We only use the AI for generating drafts or, for example, on the insights, summarizing some of the frequently asked questions. So with some analytics as well, like how many times this question has been asked, and to do some summaries. And by doing so, we efficiently minimized the cost of running such a dashboard. Because with here, we can use the cheaper APIs, like from OpenAI, even with much older models, because this is already efficient enough to run these. And this would be a fraction of the cost of an Agentic OS. However, I know it does not look as impressive and cool as these kind of nodes, but if you're a business owner and you care about business results rather than showing some interesting demos, then this is what I believe the way to go to. So to build a system like this, what is it that you would need? You need to have some common understanding about building a front end. So in this case, I built this using a language called React. You need to build some automations that are on the back end. And in this case, you don't need N8N or any of these visual tools. If you've built in everything with Cloud Code, you need to run some Python scripts. For example, this send reply. This would trigger a Python script that send this automatically. You need to understand how to connect tools with each other. So for example, this is now connected to Telegram. Or if you have a different community, let's say Circle, for example, it's very common for coaches, then you can also connect it to Circle, for example. You need to have some understanding of databases. So in this case, Supabase is hosting all this information, updating them, and you have some logic to show the highest priorities, etc. And you need to learn some OpenAI API calls. So either you run these over the OpenAI API, or you can use their software development kit. You can also use Cloud Code with the software development kit, etc. But the whole point is you don't need AI agents here. You just need some API calls to an AI and then build this intelligence dashboard. The only challenge that you will face when building these things, also with Agentic OS, by the way, is that you need to have proper software development practices in place. So you need concepts about continuous integration and continuous deployment, which means you need to run tests every time you're writing new code, and this test would run automatically. You probably also need to have a GitHub account where you would push the code here, and then throughout the actions here, you have automated sequences of actions that run once you have created new changes to the code. And what you basically need is to run all the tests, see that all the tests are working, and you need to package it again and push it to the cloud. And all of these can be made with these GitHub actions, but this takes some of the knowledge to understand how that works. And of course, you need some cloud provider to host your application for you. But now with AI, all this knowledge is so much easier to understand, and you probably would learn it within a couple of months of starting to do the work. But my point here is you need to think from everything you're doing from a customer perspective and think of how can I build them the most efficient solution to reach their goal while keeping the cost as low as possible, without it being flashy, without it being hypey, etc. So if you would take one takeaway from this video, then I hope it would be the following. I want you to stop thinking about how can I make a more impressive demo to make YouTube videos or TikTok videos. And I want you to think about what information does a business need to make better decisions, and what actions do they do on a daily basis that I can dramatically reduce the friction to. And this is where I think these intelligence dashboards provide tremendous value for businesses. So if you want to learn how to build real-world AI applications, I have a free community with a lot of free courses inside that can help you get started. I will teach you the fundamentals of building reliable and secure software, and the fundamentals of how to think like an AI consultant that deliver value for businesses rather than delivering flashy demos. If that's something you're interested in, make sure to check it out. And I would love to hear it from you. What has been the most valuable automation that you have delivered for customers? Make sure to write it in the comments. I read every comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.